What's up? How you doing? How you feeling? And welcome back to Rome Reacts. Listen, this is part 2, lead attorney's second appearance. And if you don't know already, we got 8 people on the panel. Their personalities are so strong, if you don't even know them, they're going to introduce themselves. How this works is they're going to raise a question and they're going to have a conversation about that question. They're going to answer it one by one. People going to chime in. Let's see how it goes. I think I'm in front of Lauren. I think Lauren talks the least out of everyone. And I'm going to let it be known that Kay is a character on the bottom left. A big character. Though, so that should be shown throughout this video because she's always showing it. Prepare yourself. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get to it. I don't want to waste your time.
Greatest show ever. We'll move on to our last and final topics before we open it up to the phone lines, which is, as men, we are taught how to treat women when we are younger, right? But not how to protect ourselves from women. Let's talk about that. Let me get you guys' thoughts about it. Read that question again. As men, we are taught how to treat women, but not how to protect ourselves from women. Start with you, Rella.
I knew this was coming. I think, I think by default, man, like one of the things that I think about as I look at the question is that we look at women as the weaker vessel. So we wouldn't, typically you wouldn't think that you need protection from a woman per se. And it's even like, I'm not trying to pile on, but even the interaction earlier with Anton and Kay, my inclination is to step in and say, yo, Anton, chill, right? Because we always look to the man, right? To be the bigger person or to stand down or to fall back or whatever. But to his point also, you have these situations, especially in DV cases where men are on the receiving end of, physical altercations or whatever, right? And a lot of times they just sit there and take it. Why? Because you don't expect, as a man, to be in a situation where you have to protect yourself or defend yourself from a woman. And that goes from physical altercations to conversations to even when you find yourself, most gentlemen or some gentlemen find themselves in, situations like family court. You're not thinking that you have to defend or protect yourself from a woman because typically we look at them as, the weaker vessel. Hey, I see you making faces. Feel like I lost you.
No, didn't.
Okay. Lauren, as men, we are taught how to treat women, but not how to protect ourselves from women.
While she talking,
what are your thoughts about it?
It's a true statement. Unfortunately, I think what contributes to that is depending on the generation you grew up in. Most men were raised by their mothers, grandmothers, meemaws, whatever, right? And so they basically, hold your emotions in, well, no, let me go back. They're raised by them and they tell you how to treat women, right? This is how you treat your mama, this is how you treat whomever, blah, 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 blah. But in the same breath, they're actually abusing men in the sense they're not allowing them to be emotional. They're forcing them to kind of really step into like a manly man role at 13, 12, like just really step up to the plate super early. So if they were preaching, this is how you treat women and this is how you protect yourself from women, they would essentially be, preaching the narrative of like, protect yourselves from people like me, like your mom or your grandma. So I think it's like, they couldn't do both because they were the ones, and I'm using abusing, and that's kind of a strong word, but they were the ones basically pushing men into resorting to not being able to be themselves. And yeah, so I was doing a lot of thinking around that, and I was like, well, trying to figure out what's the root of it, and it really had to do with how they were raised and who was raising them. That's where my thinking kind of went. So I think that's the blame, is just who raised the men. And but I will say that the new age mothers, they're ruthless. Like they're calling women hoes. Don't you talk to these hoes. Don't bring no chick in my house. Like and it's more so for like protecting their sons from women that are out to use them.
And it usually be protecting their sons from women that are exactly the way the mother is.
Or to trap them in so many words. So I've been seeing some moms like kind of use that of that's their way of trying to teach them to protect themselves from women that are out to get them and doesn't necessarily have their best interest at heart, if that makes sense. So I think it's generational, depending on which generation you're speaking about.
Okay. The lead, coming to you.
Yeah, like this ain't even a question. This is just 100% fact right here, and I see it played out. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, maybe it's me. I see this. Okay, I see this played out in just so many variations through the court system, and I totally agree with Lauren that on the one hand, that you get it from the single mother families, but you also get it from two parent homes. If you have a father in the home and you have a sister, what's the father going to say? Oh, you don't hit your sister, you don't hit girls, you don't hit women. Well, it starts from there. That right there, that you don't hit women, that is the seed that plants this fact that you're asking now. If men were not brought up to not hit women, then this fact that you're stating, this fact that's on the banner, it wouldn't make sense. But you are raising men, you are raising boys to think that women can do anything to men and men cannot respond. And it's played out, in violent ways. If, let's say you are convicted, some woman makes up some charge against you, some violation charge, you violated her, right? So the judge puts on the paperwork, says, listen, I'm gonna give you 4 years for this violation. Well, now you've got what's called in the criminal justice system, in the penitentiary system, you got bad paperwork because your paperwork said that you violated a woman. So when you go in to the diagnostic center, when you go into jail and they're trying to figure out where to put you in prison, you're in trouble because wherever you go, the first thing they're going to say is, okay, you're black, you're people over here on cell block D. By the way, you need to bring your paperwork. And you're in trouble when it shows that you violated a woman. Why? And it's just a penitentiary full of men. But the men are going to say, oh, you're this or you're that because you violated a woman, you're scum, and you can get killed over bad paperwork. So you see it played out in vicious ways, but you also see it out in subtle ways. When I was on here last time, we had E-Black TV on here, and he mentioned that he was married. But do you know what he said? And this is like, you guys didn't catch it, but as a divorce attorney, I was like, Jesus Christ.
I caught it.
He said that, if he ever gets divorced,
She gets everything.
She gets exactly, Courtney.
I heard it.
And I was like, ain't this about a bit? Like, you guys, like, he thinks he's being honorable. He thinks he's being honorable that, if he gets divorced, his wife gets everything. And I didn't say anything, right? Because, everybody has their own opinions, but I got a question. If you're saying that you love her so much and that because you love her so much, if you get divorced, she gets everything. I got a question. Does she love you? Right? Does your wife tell you that if you get divorced, you can have every single penny, you can have all of the equity in the home, you can have all of your retirement account. Not only can you have your retirement account, you can have every penny of her retirement account. Not only are you not going to have to pay alimony, she's going to have to pay alimony to you. Does she love you? No, you don't ever hear that. Guys, I do divorce cases sometimes, and these Hispanics will come in, these white men. Shout out to the brothers. Brothers really don't do this too much. But the white men will come in all the time. Oh, lead attorney, just give her everything. I just want out. You know how many women have said that over my 20 years? Zero. And so you will never find a woman that says, oh, just give him everything. Give him all of the house. I'll take all of the debt. You give him all the money that's in the bank account, all of the stocks.
So, I mean, you see it in violent ways, which happens to you in the prison. You see it in the courtrooms, which is why alimony is so given out so generously, especially in the past, because you have these women who are damsel in distress. The women need help. The women need protection. But you're screwing over the men
Big
to
time.
give the women the protection. Like, men aren't protected, even from other men. And then you have so many and you know, I don't know if E Black is going to see this. This is not a shot. He is not the only one. But when I see it, I'm just like, man, like, people don't understand the narratives that they're living within their own head. They think they're being admirable, and they're not understanding that they're walking around with a victim mentality. Like, it doesn't seem, it seems like he's being the bigger person and just giving her everything, and it's not. It's a mentality that you morally are not allowed to protect yourself. You morally are not allowed to insist that you have rights, that you have value. Like, you have to give her everything and start over when she will not do the same for you. Like, it should, I don't want to go on and on about it, but to me, it's disgusting. And you never want to be the woman. What's that?
Feel free to go on and on. We're enjoying this.
Well, listen, because now you start getting into some stuff that can get you canceled, right? When you say, you know, as a man, when you say, you know, so many men will cheer the whole fact that, you know, you should never hit a woman. Come down here to Georgia. You can hear that every day. You see these, you see these videos, especially with the white dudes, man. White dudes do not want to, I mean, let me back up. Like, get some Budweisers in them, and they'll get them, right? But I mean, there's domestic, there's DV in every race. But you just have these people who get on this high horse, this high mentality, this moral high ground as men, when it is not reciprocated. That's the thing. If it was reciprocated, you wouldn't hear me say this. If you heard women walking around saying, no, I'm going to give him all of the assets and I'm going to take all of the debt, then as an attorney, I would say, okay, this is fair. But what I see is the opposite. I see men all the time becoming martyrs. I see men all the time becoming victims, men giving up the homes, and now they're in the Motel 6. And, you know, it's to the point now where I'm like, you're being stupid. I mean, and it's not your fault, because you have been ingrained with this mentality that you are a victim of this. You don't see yourself as a victim. This is the most treacherous thing. You think you're being honorable when really you are a victim of this narrative that devalues men. It says it's okay for men to be victimized. The women should be upheld. The women should be on the pedestal. The women should be protected. But what about you? You have no value in this society. So when E Black says, yeah, we have this running joke, I'm going to give her everything in the divorce, you know who's not laughing? She's not laughing. She's like, bet. She's like, bet. So, I mean, I could go on for a long time, but let me just tell you, this is a fact. And I see it in so many different iterations, so many variations that is played out in our society.
Okay. Woo! Courtney, shout out to the league.
What do y'all have to say about that? Boy.
Yeah, we're definitely saying E Black in the chat. I'm pretty sure you're going to come on and speak on it. But Courtney, as men, we are taught how to treat women, but not how to protect ourselves from women. What are your thoughts about it?
I think Lee summed it up. He's absolutely right. Men are not taught how to protect themselves as far as with marriage, divorcing, if that were to happen. Going through the system and fighting for custody, child support, they're not taught these things. And they need to be. You know, in order to be a provider, we teach men how to provide for their family and, you know, level up and all this. But just in case something were to happen, or, you know, if some woman was to do something, they're not taught that. I have a friend that plays football, NFL. And I asked him, I was like, well, how are you able to differentiate between the women that are, you know, like you or just there for you for the money? And he was like, no, I know how to protect myself from those particular type of women. And that's important. And I wanted to make sure with him because that's my guy. And I'm like, okay, well, you have to differentiate yourself from the thoughts that's going to try to get a baby out of you and get a check from the women that really like you. And how do you know? And he was like, no, I was taught that. So it's important. Men have to be taught how to protect themselves from women because especially if you're up here, not even if you're not, there's women that are conniving and deceiving.
A lot of them.
And you have to learn how to protect yourselves.
I don't think that there's a blueprint to protect ourselves. That's the problem.
It's not a blueprint to protect anything. There's not a blueprint of how to protect your heart. There's not a blueprint of how to get over someone. There's not a blueprint of, they're trying to scam me. It's not. It's life, but it's looking at, okay, so these are the characteristics of this. This is, a red flag. This is something that you need to look out for. These are some questions that you should have. This is a prenup that you should put in to protect yourself.
Listen, but what we're talking about is treating. We're not just talking about marriage. We're not just talking about, listen, by default.
My job is to make college easier.
This one is serious. This
have a
part
lot
2.
of fun.
I'm glad I'm doing part 2.
Society is advocating for all women to be believed, regardless of whether or not she's telling the truth. If she accuses a man of doing something, we are largely leaning on this whole narrative. For example, we have countless examples every single day. No matter what your friend tell you, it's a lot of dudes that's in college every single day that lose their scholarships. They get kicked out of school just based off of the accusation of a woman saying that he did something to her. And even when he gets it's proven that he didn't do anything, nothing happens to the woman, first and foremost. And then secondly, he don't get his scholarship back. His reputation is already ruined. His whole life, the trajectory of his life is already changed. So my point is that there is nothing that you can teach men how to protect themselves, really. Like there is no blueprint. Whereas when you talk about women, they continue to advocate for them. They say all women are supposed to be believed. All of them. You guilty before being proven innocent as a man just by walking around by default. If a man hit a woman, I don't know where it's at everywhere else, or if there's a domestic dispute and a man gets accused of anything physical, even if he did it or not, he got to go and sit in jail for 3 days. 3 days is the default. Ain't no getting out. Ain't no pass go. You get $200. Ain't none of that. So my point is that I don't think that it's just got to be a radical shift. I mean, and I don't think that it'll ever happen because too many powerful people has an incentive for this to continue to go forward. And I just don't think I don't think that there's ever going to be a system in place or an environment where a man is truly protected in this day and age that we live in. It's unfathomable for me.
I would definitely say this because, I mean, I can't say that there's laws or whatever as far as with how to men protect themselves from women. But these are the ideas of having platforms or having mentorship. Like even on this platform, we talk about discipline. That's men protecting themselves from women for having discipline.
Listen.
That is a protection.
As a man that was in corporate America at the highest level, at the executive level, we could not. Do you know that guys had to institute a policy amongst ourselves, not HR, not nothing, that we don't even go into a room and close the door to have a conversation with a female colleague because of this Me Too movement?
Yes.
We can't even have a conversation without making sure that we have somebody else in there as a witness. And that's beyond even trying to protect ourselves. That's just basic human decency of somebody believing something and me being in a position of power and automatically getting everything stripped away from me as a result of being in the wrong position with somebody that's having the wrong intention. And just because she don't have a dick between her legs, they automatically believe her. That's crazy. There is no protection for men. We can't even have this conversation in good faith.
But do you not
go respond, Courtney, and then we'll go to Amir.
But do you not see that you guys doing that is how, hey, we understand how the legal system is. you have to do this to protect yourself. These are the steps that you have to do to protect yourself. Like even me and my doctor, I have a male doctor. When I go get my pap smear, I have to have the nurse in there. It's, these are what we have to do to protect men. So it's a fallacy to say there. I mean, we understand the laws in the Me Too movement, i.e. the feminism way before-ish, but it's, we are putting things in order to protect men. So guess what? Your doctor, to give you a pap smear, it will have a female nurse there. This is what, it's not to protect me. It's to protect my doctor so I can't say anything. Even with you in the corporate area, it wasn't to protect that woman. It was to protect y'all. So it is some things that men are having to come up with and be creative with to make sure in the essence of the Me Too movement that they are protected.
All right. Amir, coming to you next.
The fact that they even have to do that.
Okay, so the question is, men are
taught how to treat, as men, we are taught how to treat women, but not how to protect ourselves from women.
Okay. So can I bring up two things? Culturally, from my culture, as you know, there are no limits to, how can I say this? Men can do as necessary to protect themselves, and women, we do as necessary to protect men and ourselves as well. Example being what Courtney said, having her nurse come in when she has a male doctor. In my culture, we can't have male doctors at all. At all. It doesn't matter what it is. No men are to be checking our bodies at all as females. That's one way. Another thing about this is that in America, I think that men should have the right to do as necessary to protect themselves. I don't think that men should be restricted in any way to protect themselves. If a woman steps in the arena as a man, she can be treated as a man. I don't think that there should be any rules saying that men can't do this or you can't defend yourself against a woman, because as we've seen now, women take advantage of it. And as for the court systems, like you all know, I'm completely against how the court system is set up currently. So, there's a lot that needs to be changed. Oh, one more thing. Another thing that I've seen recently on YouTube is men teaching other men how to protect themselves. There's these red pill movements and these red pill channels that are helping and aiding men on what to do in certain situations and certain resources that they can use in order to protect their wallet and protect their physical being.
Yeah.
Gotta love Amira, man. Got to.
Oh my God, Anton, we agree. Men Amira. Oh my God! Look at me trying to get fired.
It's only because I called it out early.
No, it's not. We've agreed a couple times.
Only because I called it out early.
But like I said, even with lead attorney, his essence, his platform is to help men and protect them. So we have someone on our show that's protecting men.
Mm-hmm. All right, really?
Yeah, and I do agree with Amira that the red pill community probably is.
We're gonna pause it. Just let it load a little bit. This is a long stream.
The only thing, the manosphere in general, and then maybe the red pill community in particular. Now, red pill community, no community is perfect, right? But they're kind of all we got.
Yeah.
Yeah. My question I was going to ask lead attorney was going to be, what does that look? I mean, I know you're speaking strictly from, well, not strictly, but speaking primarily from a legal standpoint. And again, in society, I mean, men aren't taught, like, we understand that. So what does that look like for men to be taught how to protect themselves from women?
What do you mean? What does it look like?
So you were expounding and you were giving some examples about like how men get raped over the calls, like even using E Black as an example, right? And I think there are a lot of men that that type of statement will resonate with, right? Like, so if my wife left or whatever, she gets everything, and I think it's an expectation in our society for us to start over. So I see you shaking your head. So that's what I'm saying. what does it look like to teach men like how to protect themselves? Like, should men? I know you're an advocate for prenup, so I'm just asking you to lay it out for like the cats that are watching on the program who may not be familiar, may not have heard you break it down before.
Yeah, I mean, it's so deep, and it really needs to come from a man. I'm not one of these people who say, "Oh, only men." I don't want to say that, but I think specifically a woman is incapable of teaching a man some of the things, especially a young man, the things that he needs to know. Just because not because the women aren't smart enough, but their experiences are so much different. As being raised in a protected class, they don't know what it means to be raised in an unprotected class. A woman would not fathom saying the bullshit that E. Black was saying about just giving some person every single cent that they've worked 15 years for. What intelligent person is going to say that? Well, a man who has got this martyrdom mentality, right? So it goes so deep, and everybody knows E. Black is a solid dude, which shows you how invasive how pernicious these thoughts are. So I definitely think older men need to teach younger men this, but you have to be careful because even the truth can get you canceled. I don't know if you guys really remember this. This happened a few years ago. Stephen A. Smith is a news. He's over there at ESPN, right? And he said something which was 100% true, and they suspended him, and he had to come with this watery-eyed apology. What did he say? He said that something along. It's been a few years, so I might have the details wrong, but he was telling, I think, one of his younger family members, who was a woman, maybe his niece or somebody, that she should not provoke men because, a man is stronger than you and you can't count on a man not responding in a manly way. And, he was telling a woman this, and he got in so much hot water, and again, they suspended him and he had to apologize. So if you can't tell women this stuff, imagine trying to tell men, right? So I think a man, number one, he should be given the reality of the situation and how the ideologies, how the narratives that have been fed to him are erroneous, and they are victimizing him on a daily basis. But he also needs to understand the reality of the situation. What is the reality of the situation? Marshawn Lynch. I don't know if y'all know Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch is a person that stays on code. He is going to say the N-word to you. He's going to say it to Obama. He's going to say it to white people. Like, he doesn't care. He is who he is. And he had a training camp. There's a video that went viral. And he had a training camp, and this white woman got mad at the way that he was talking and then wanted his money back. And she tried to get in his face. And he was like, listen, do you have a husband? Do you have a boyfriend? I am not talking to you. I need a man. And she felt offended. She was like, no, I'm the parent. You can talk to me. I'm the mom. He was like, nope, not to you. I am not talking to you. So, those are the types of things that you do to kind of protect yourself. It's almost like you have to kind of stay away from women in a sense. And this is kind of what Anton was saying too. And a lot of women push back on this because they say it's not fair. They say, listen, you guys can go off on the golf course and you guys can tell your dirty jokes and that's fine. But you guys are making deals on the golf course. And if I don't have access to the golf course, if I don't have access to you in those private settings, if I don't have access to you in those cigar rooms, then how am I going to be part of the deal? Right? You guys are leaving me out. I want in. But the second you say, fine, come in, then you are introducing potential chaos into the cigar room.
Shout out to Chaotic K. Oh, down there.
Right? You are introducing chaos into the golf course because you can make one wrong comment and now you're Me Too'd on the golf course. You can make one wrong comment in the cigar room and now you're Me Too'd. And so women are actually hurting themselves in a sense, because women are going to be left out of these important meetings, these all men meetings, and they're going to say, why am I not a part? Well, you're not a part because it's not safe for men to be around you. And so, I mean, there's so many facets of this. The way it plays out in court, the way it plays out in jail, the way it plays out in E Black's marriage, the way it plays out in the corporate world, the way it plays out on the golf courses and the cigar rooms. I mean, you could write a series of books on it, but it really comes from the older men talking to the younger men, and the younger, hopefully getting these men young enough to where they listen. Because a young man who's 23 and has got his nose open, like, oh, you're old, you're just bitter, right? You've been divorced 7 times and you just bitter, you just hate women. My girl loves me, right? And then 10 years later, they're talking some ish like E Black, talking about giving her everything. And she's like, thank you. She's like, thank you very much. And now she's with her new man with all of your shit. And you're starting.
Not the new man.
Listen, shout out to E Black, but I mean, I don't even, man.
No.
It's so deep. It's so
Lee,
deep.
you're too generous. We're not going to shout out E Black on that specific note. No shout outs to E Black for that one, because he was on crazy time all night that night. He said Amber Rose was marriage material. He said a lot of things that was crazy that night.
What I'm telling you is E Black is a victim, Anton. That's what I'm telling you. He was brought up.
Very much very true.
He was brought up in a situation where he thinks that he is, not only does he think he's right, but he thinks he's moral. So shout out to him. I'm not going to shout out. He's a victim. It's not his fault.
Did you hear what he said? He was drinking. I think he was drinking that night, though, Lee. He said Amber Rose was the top of all women.
I missed that.
I missed it too.
Was that the same show?
I don't think that was the same show. I would have remembered that. Amber Rose is looking pretty rough.
I just gotta touch on this one thing, bro. They will literally provoke you. You will try to escape, and they'll be like, "No, come get this heat. Come get this heat. You deserve. You gonna listen to me. And get all in your face and talk to you. They will talk to you as if you're not gonna do anything. They only talking to you because they don't expect you to do anything, and they know if you do something, that's your ass. But if it was a woman, a lot of them wouldn't talk like that. They wouldn't talk the way they talk to a man. They would not talk to a woman because at some point you gotta rumble, right? Oh my gosh, bro! I just had to let a little bit of that out, y'all. Let's go.
Rough these days. I mean, she had her heyday.
Oh no, that was a different show. You're right.
Yeah, that was a different show. But so. We just need to get to these men early, and you really can't get to them early enough because it starts when they're 5 years old. It starts when they're 6 years old. I missed the context, but I think Courtney was saying how, she has a child, and in the schools they're separating the kids, and the boys are over here and the girls are over there. That's where it starts, where you're creating this equality. You're creating an idea in these children's heads that there's a reason why they're separated. And that gap, that reason why they're separated, the boys over here, the girls over here, that gap is where all the victimization starts to occur. And so you're never going to get to these kids early enough. You talk to a kid and he's 19, he's been victimized, since he was 6. You don't hit your sister, she's a girl. That's a wrap. That's where it starts.
I was never taught that.
Lee,
you were never taught not to hit a girl? I don't believe that. That's just not true.
Listen,
hey,
it's not true.
Now I'm gonna tell you what I was taught, TLA. Honestly, I'm gonna tell you what I was taught. The lessons was to the women: don't ever get in the man's face. The lessons was for them, and we was taught. Well, I'm not even gonna get into that. I don't want to get into
don't
that.
even, because that's not true.
All
men in this country, all men in this country have been subjected.
Don't hit a woman, even if you hit you. Don't hit her back. You're the big man. You're stronger than her. Don't hit her back.
That's exactly right.
I wasn't taught like that.
Yeah.
And I've said regularly, if you want to get in this arena, if you want to jump in the boxing ring, if you want to get on the basketball court, I'm not going to take a light on you. I'm bodying you up. I'm going to cross you over. I'm going to push you down right after the crossover, and then I'm going to hit the shot. I'm not playing no games. I don't see no kind of woman whatsoever. All I see is competition. You gonna die on that sword coming in my way.
That sounds like an offensive foul. That sounds like an offensive foul.
Yeah, it is what it is, bro.
That is.
Anton, have you ever hit a man?
Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna come to you next with the question, but it looked like you had a question before I asked you the question. So go ahead and ask the question that you wanted to pose, and then also respond on, as men, we are taught how to treat women, but not how to protect ourselves from women.
Okay, I had a couple. I had one for lead. So lead, this makes me think about what we were talking about earlier in terms of feminism in the classroom and all these things like that. Do you think, just your opinion, that boys and girls should not be separated in the elementary school level? Excuse my voice. Oh my goodness. But do you think that boys and girls should not be separated? That it should just be kind of like, everyone's together, no like boys line, girls line. Like, what do you think personally, in your opinion?
Okay, thank you. Let me limit to this personally, because when I was coming up, I don't remember this separation, and I don't have any kids, so I have no idea what's going on in these elementary schools. So the fact that you guys are telling me that that there's all this separation, I don't know anything about that. So I want to answer your question, but I don't even have the context. I mean, are they?
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't think it's healthy.
Okay. I mean, I respect that. Anton, have you ever hit a man? You're on mute.
Yep, I hit a man and a woman before.
So did you fight with the woman?
Yep, sure did.
Who won?
Why, Kay? On YouTube? Hey.
Hey, you see how she taking shots? We're gonna get there.
How is that a shot?
I just
damn shot. Like, of course, Anton won. That's a damn shot.
I want y'all to know. I want y'all to
How
see
is that
it.
a shot?
What, Kay? She's serious. Like, she really don't think what she's doing is nothing wrong with it. How is that?
I want y'all to know. I want y'all to see it so that when I show back up and I deal with it,
is that a shot?
y'all gonna be. I'm
just trying to figure out how it's that relevant, Kay.
Thank you.
The reason I asked is because he said that he doesn't see men and women differently in terms of fights.
So what does that have to do with asking a man if he hit? Did you hit a man and a woman? And then on the girl fight, did you beat the girl? Did you win? What does that have to do with anything? Kay.
The reason I asked that question, oh my God.
No, I understand that.
The reason that I asked that question is because I was trying to see if you don't see men and women, differently in terms of fighting. I don't know if you want. I mean, what?
What
are you saying?
I guess the shot is that you think that you could beat every woman in a fight. I don't know what the shot is. How is it a shot?
I'm going to get a snack, y'all. I'm sorry. I will be back. Oh my God. She lost her. Let's do this.
How is me asking if you won a shot?
Can you make it? Because you didn't ask if I won against the guy. But anyways, go ahead.
No, the reason I didn't ask if you won
Y'all
against
do
the
this
guy.
every single show. This is crazy. Now I see.
The reason that I didn't ask if you won against the guy is because in society, just in general, and this is what we've been talking. Well, y'all have been talking.
And this is where Kay starts freestyling, trying to make a square fit into a circle, y'all. Just listen to her. I don't know what she gonna say. I already know what it is.
In society, just in general, and this is what we've been y'all have been talking about, is about how men are taught not to hit women. In fact, when Courtney said that, that's what made me think of the question. So if men are taught not to hit women, and you said...
So, you want to get hired before summer ends? The hottest tech companies are desperate to hire for customer success.
I don't know, maybe you weren't taught that, whatever. So if you were in a fight with the woman, it was probably a fair fight, right? I'm just asking who won.
What? Look at the lead face, bro. Like, what? Look at JR, bro. Oh my gosh, K. You never fail to be ridiculous.
Right? I'm just asking who won.
Can we move forward? This is so
Did you beat up the woman or did she beat you up?
Did you send her to the hospital? And did she die? Jesus, what are we talking about?
He said that he's not.
This is the person that's educating y'all children.
Okay.
Yeah, because you just always.
Does anybody agree that Kay should continue with the conversation? If you do, raise your hand.
Does anybody agree?
Raise your hand if you think that she should continue with this.
It's a conversation, so either we're going to end it or not.
Right.
Okay. Do you agree? I'm just trying to figure out if it makes sense.
There go the Powerpuff Girls. There go the Powerpuff Girls. Come on, Courtney. You know she is way out of line. Why are you even trying right now? You just making yourself look bad now. And you usually make yourself look good. But teaming up with Kay is not the route. Because Kay is very disingenuous.
I don't agree with neither or. It's
okay,
just
right. So we're moving on. Okay, I just want to make sure it wasn't me. I just had to do a self check.
It's your show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Can you go ahead and proceed to answer the question now, Kay?
As men, we were taught how to treat women, but not how to protect ourselves. I think that there's a lot to talk about in terms of that, because some men are not taught how to properly treat a woman. Some men are not taught how to protect themselves. Some are. I mean, there's a lot that can happen. I'm not going to claim to know what the majority of men have been taught in terms of treating women, or whatever. I do think that as children, there are certain things that are propagated or pushed as it relates to boys versus girls. Like, oh, that's a girl, don't do this or don't do that. But in terms, oh my goodness, my voice. But in terms of men,
thank you, Jesus.
In terms of grown men, I don't have enough information to say that, because some men maybe don't know how to even treat a woman. Some don't know how to protect themselves. Some do know how to protect themselves and avoid certain situations. Like, there's some men who will not go to that hotel room with that woman and he's this famous man. There's some who won't do that. There's some that...
She's a teacher, y'all. She's supposed to be educating people. Her.
Will. I mean, there's so much variation, so I don't have enough information to answer that properly.
Okay. Lauren, can I ask a question, Kay?
Oh, Jesus.
No, we don't want to hear her talk more. We don't. Oh, Chicago. Okay. You gonna put us through to Chicago. Let's see. No disrespect to you, Chicago. I'm saying, but we don't even want to hear her talk no more.
Let's go.
No, I'm serious. Do you think the men in your family were taught how to treat women?
Yes.
Okay, they were. Were they taught how to protect themselves from women?
Yes.
In what way?
Just not even getting into certain situations, especially as Black men, knowing certain things that could happen, things like that. Yeah.
Cap.
Okay.
Cap. So you was in the conversation in the room where they were teaching the men how to stop.
And you were out here never being taught not to hit a woman, Cap.
No, I wasn't.
I hate that word, but I decided.
And you hear the deflection. But okay, Kay. Okay, Kay.
Decided to use it now, since we're doing that.
Lauren.
Cap.
As men.
She don't even want to answer the question.
It's fine. Anton, it's okay for us to like have different experiences in life. It
So
doesn't
are you there?
have.
Okay. Yes, everybody went. Okay. All right, I'm opening up to the phone lines right now.
Y'all,
Phone lines.
y'all. I've never done this. I need a break. I will make part 3 if y'all want part 3. But Kay, you are something else. That's all I'm gonna say. I really hope y'all know I got plenty more for you. But I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you could stand it. If it tested your patience, you're not alone. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And before I go, I just want to give a special shout out to my subscribers, all of y'all. Y'all have been supporting me so much. Thank you for defending me from the haters, from the disingenuous people. And disingenuous people, thank you for your time. Thank you so much. Alright? I got so much more content coming. It's not going to stop. Make sure you're here for it. Until next time.